Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Everyman Podcast. Now, this isn't an actual episode. This is something where I just wanted to give a bit of an update, really, on some of the things that are happening with the podcast, some of the things that we're doing, ultimately where we're going. We have a lot of things going on currently, and I suppose I'm just sharing this to my Facebook about the pod. We have quite a few things going on at the moment, and today's quite an exciting day for us. We have registered today to become a community interest company, which is the first start of us becoming a charity. And for us as a business, or us as a group of people who are trying to make a real difference to people's health and how they feel about themselves, this is a real step for us. And one that, to be honest, I am super excited about. The chance to ultimately make a real difference in people's lives and taking it away from us being just a podcast that generally catches up weekly with ourselves or with guests, to then being something that can actually start to really make a difference. And reflecting on sort of the last, I think we're up to sort of 19 months now since we launched the podcast, which is great. And we're just ready for this sort of next step in our evolution to becoming a fully functioning business, really. And the chance now for you guys as an audience to support us and get involved in that journey is something that we're super excited about, really. We are in a position where the last sort of 18 months, 19 months, we have ran the podcast very much from our own sort of budget, what we've invested into the podcast to get it to where it is. And that has enabled us to not just try and run before we can walk, but get pretty good at having conversations, really understand where we want to go. And we're in a place now where, as a podcast, we're going to start, and I've mentioned it a couple of times on my Facebook, for example, that we are going to start offering like free weekly check-ins for people. So that'll include some experts, whether that's counselors, public speakers, survivors, whatever that might be, to support people who are struggling with their health. So that'll be a free session every week for people to come on and join that. That won't be a filmed, recorded version for the world to see. That'll be a closed online session that people can start sharing around how they're feeling, what they're thinking about, what they're struggling with, and trying to really build on the community of people really helping each other. So we're super excited about that part. And as I've just said, we have registered today as a community interest company, which now allows us to go beyond just having conversations and ultimately now being in a position where we can encourage people to actively do real life things with each other to make sure that people aren't struggling by themselves. And that's something that we're super excited about. And I suppose I just wanted to talk on this video very, very quickly. It's not going to be a long one at all, around why we do the podcast and ultimately now why we're taking this to being a business and why we want to really make an impact on people's lives. And we're in a position now where we have had lots of conversations about lots of topics that we're all really passionate about, but we're now also in that place where we feel like we can do so much more. That encouraging people to talk, encouraging people to not feel alone, to understand how they're thinking, feeling, like that's really positive. But what it also has its limitations around is the fact that, for example, it's not very inclusive for people to actually get the help that they need. And I wanted to start this podcast, couple of years ago now to make sure that people never felt ultimately how I felt as a person, and that people felt like there was an outlet for how they were feeling and if they were struggling. And this is something that, as we are moving beyond a conversation and now into the ability to actually motivate and inspire people to do more, we have had to make the decision to make it something more tangible than just a group of mates getting together weekly to talk about health. And what you'll see over the coming months is a lot more activities and actionable things that you can get involved with, or your business can get involved with, to support us and ultimately to support you and the people around you to live a happier, healthy life. And we're really excited about it. It takes a lot of work to get from ultimately a podcast into something that is way more tangible as an actual business, considering we all have full-time jobs. But it's something we are all super excited about. Now, you will have seen over the past few months, we've had some new people join the podcast. We've obviously had people leave. So like Reese and James were involved in the podcast and they're no longer involved anymore. But we've seen Yaz join, Sean's joined, now got Joe joined. We're in conversations with a couple more people to either potentially come back, some exciting news there, or also to come on board and help us with our mission to ultimately make sure that we are removing the stigma around people having real, honest human health conversations and saying, like, look, you're not a scumbag, you're not a shitbag for feeling how you feel, and you're not alone. And that's something that we are genuinely really excited about being able to do, helping people make sure that they know that there are real things that are out there, free, doesn't cost anything, to potentially change your life for the better. And that's something that, where we are today, is very much a conversational outlet for people to understand how they're feeling. Moving forward, it will be building much more on a community feel, where you can get involved with events, where you can do more, basically. So how many people now, the dark nights have come in and we all feel a little bit shit, where we feel like we don't leave the house, we might be struggling a little bit with our mental health a little bit more. And I've definitely felt that this year, like really quite strongly, actually. I'm not really wanting to do much. So I think now just building on from a conversation into something real, that's where we're going. As I say, moving forward, there's going to be so much more opportunity for you guys to get involved, whether that's audience episodes where listeners of the podcast can join in the conversation live, come on the pod, talk about various topics. We're also going to have, over the next few months, a situation where we're going to interview someone every single day, and you could be one of them, to remove the stigma of people talking about their health. So if for whatever reason you feel like either you're super passionate about health and you want to help inspire people to not feel shitty and alone, or you have a story to tell yourself, or you actually feel like there's people on your social media who could be struggling that might need to hear a message, we want to leverage the really amazing people we have who are around us and who support us to make a bigger difference in real people's lives. Because ultimately, that's why we do this. It's not for us to say, oh my God, we have a podcast. It's to actually make a difference in people's lives. And we started this very much with the mindset of, if we could just help one person. And I think every single week, the amount of messages we get, we absolutely are helping people. But it's now just taking it beyond that. So I just wanted to create a very quick video tonight, just announcing, obviously, we are now taking the next steps from a group of mates having a podcast to now a community interest company, and then with the ultimate aim of becoming a charity. And like I say, with that in mind, where we want to get to is things like a free gym. So in the local area, a gym that you never have to pay for, that has free classes, free community events, free counselling, all those sorts of things. That's where we want to get to, and that's what we're building towards, is taking something from conversation to real life things that you can do to improve your health. And this is the next step, and it's super exciting. We are just a group of people who all work full time, trying to make a difference and make sure no one feels how some of us have in the past. So yeah, that is all I'm going to touch on tonight. Just a bit of an announcement. It's a big progress day for us today. Submitting that application. Yeah, and here's the next steps. It's been sort of, what is it, 17, 18 months since we started the podcast. And the next 17, 18 months will be even more exciting, we are sure. But yeah, look after yourself, and we will catch you all soon.